Greetings, everybody, wherever you may be, and welcome to Kourou, the home of Ariane, for tonight's live broadcast of Arianespace flight number 154. We're coming to you live, as always, from the Jupiter Mission Control Center, where, as you can see, the key players in tonight's mission are monitoring final operations in the countdown.
And commentators in French this evening, Isabelle Malivoire and Martin Unal.
And in English, I'm Joshua Jampol.
You can also follow the mission on the website www.arianespace.com.
Coming up ahead, it'll be our pleasure to bring you all the events, including operations leading up to this evening's mission. We'll see how the launcher was prepared. We'll have interviews with top Arianespace and INTELSAT personnel, and we'll go back to Evry for the latest news from the Arianespace company.
You'll get a close look at the spacecraft through interviews with key INTELSAT people directly involved in the campaign, the program and the launch. They'll provide you with an in-depth report on INTELSAT 906 mission when it's been placed on orbit.
And with live As It Happens coverage, you'll follow, along with all of us here in Jupiter, the final seconds of final countdown and all the emotions until liftoff. That's in less than 20 minutes. Ariane 4 and INTELSAT 906. In just 17 minutes and 30 seconds to be precise, we are green and go for the launch tonight. The green status panels on the left tell us so. The 10th launch of the year tonight. We're using the big Ariane 44L with the 4 liquid boosters. You can see them there. The 114th Ariane 4, the 38th Ariane 44L in the program, and we're coming off 71 straight Ariane 4 successes. We want you to meet right away some of the key players working in Jupiter and elsewhere tonight. The first, this pair, the mission director and the DDO, Mission Director Arianespace, Didier Cassé. He's the logistics coordinator for the customers. And you're going to be hearing the voice of this man, the DDO, also called the Range Operations Manager, fielding information tonight. First, on the launcher campaign.
There is something special about launch that we use for Flight 154. Originally, it was prepared for launching the Stella spacecraft in July. In the end, Stella was launched by an Ariane 5 early in July, and the launcher was therefore put to sleep in its dock until spacecraft 906 arrived. The campaign was resumed mid-August with a transfer in the launch area on August 23rd, with a view to launching spacecraft 906 at 3:44 a.m. on September 6th. Apart from this slight change in our program, the campaign was nominal both on the launcher and on the spacecraft side, and currently everything is nominal.
Every mission has its launcher campaign. Tonight's took 25 working days. There's also a satellite campaign, and this one took 15 days. Mission Director Didier Cassé, whom you just met, has more.
The preparation campaign for INTELSAT 906 went as smoothly as possible. Actually, it's the 5th preparation campaign of an INTELSAT 9 that we carry out here in Kourou, and the 3rd this year. It's almost routine work for our teams now. The spacecraft was prepared in 10 days in the S1 building. Its vital systems were checked, and then it was transferred here in this building to be filled. Filling operations are hazardous and operators require special protection. Following the filling operations, we were ready for the combined operation plan, and the spacecraft was encapsulated here in this building. It's now ready to be mated on the launcher.
And there it is, mated on the launcher. The Ariane family, a big one, 6 versions available of the Ariane 4 with 2, 4, or no boosters, liquid or solid, giving the flexibility for all missions, one of the big advantages of the Ariane program. Continuing our tour of meeting the key players, we're going to take a look inside Jupiter now at the Arianespace Flight Directorate. This is the Arianespace top management, the key decision makers, presided over by Chief Executive Jean-Yves Le Gall, who's in Paris tonight, but he is in constant liaison with his division chiefs here in the industrial and in the operations sectors. Coming up now, a few facts and figures on the satellite mission. We'll be back.
For the 9th launch of this year, Arianespace will deliver a telecommunication satellite, INTELSAT 906. The satellite weighs 4.7 tons and needs the most powerful version of the Ariane 4 to reach its transfer orbit. Once deployed, INTELSAT 906 will measure 31 meters. It is equipped with 72 C-band transponders and 22 Ku-band transponders. Its orbital slot will be at 64 degrees east over the Indian Ocean. INTELSAT 906 will provide internet and broadcast solutions for Europe, Asia, Australia and Africa for 13 years.
Jean-Yves Le Gall out at in Paris at the Euroconsult World Summit. We want to wish you all a good morning. We're going to another key player now, Program Director for Arianespace, Steve Hall, who's inside the Operational Center. Stephen, can you hear me?
Yes, good morning, Josh.
Good morning, Stephen. Listen, we can see on the status panels that everything is green for us. What's the situation where you are?
Yes, indeed, yes, everything is green. The countdown is proceeding very smoothly, and we're looking forward to an on-time liftoff in about 12 minutes' time.
You're surrounded by colleagues responsible for the mission, everyone working around you. What's the mood?
I'd say study and concentration at this time.
Very good. Stephen Hall, thanks very much. We'll try to get back to you later. Right now, latest news from Arianespace.
V155 was launched successfully on August the 28th. It's carried 2 passengers, Atlantic Bird 1 and MSG 1, a telecom and a weather satellite. A new generation Ariane 5 has delivered 3 missions this year, including back-to-back double launches in July and August.
The CSG welcomed a group from KARI, the Korean Aerospace Research Institute, who were here from the 19th to the 23rd of August. Invited by CNES, Arianespace showed the men from KARI the launch facilities on August 21st. The exchange continues Franco-Korean cooperation, begun with the launch of KoreaSat 3 exactly 3 years ago.
The campaign has begun for V157. On August 22nd, the launcher for the next Ariane 5 mission began its preparation. The new 10-ton vehicle with its new upper stage will deliver another European mission, Hotbird 7 for Eutelsat and Stentor for CNES.
At 11 minutes and counting down, all is well out there on the pad. That's the ELA-2 pad, which is where the Ariane 4 takes off from. Next up on our Meet the Key People tour, the customer side, for Intelsat, Mission Director Terry Edwards, his deputy Dave Griffiths, and next to him, Jean-Paul Bergès, who's the Program Director for Intelsat 9, also as Program Director for Intelsat 7. These men have been here many times, and they know the program very, very well. We're going to Jean-Paul Bergès for a look at the Intelsat 9 series.
Seven satellites are being built by Space System L'Oral for the Intelsat 9 series. 5 are already providing services in orbit, and number 6 will be launched tonight. These are the latest and most powerful in the Intelsat fleet and are replacing satellites from the Series 6 while providing enhanced services through their higher power transponder. Assembled and tested in Palo Alto from parts and subsystems coming from all over the world, this series of satellites is built from a common core fitted with one of 3 types of C-band antenna to optimize the performance of the spacecraft for the orbital location. The 906 spacecraft being launched tonight will be located at 64 degrees east above the Indian Ocean. From there, we'll provide 72 C-band and 22 Ku-band equivalent transponders, bringing quality services to the Indian Ocean region.
Before I forget, the tape on the satellite facts and figures a moment ago said that this was the 9th launch of the year, but you do know better. It is the 10th launch of the year. Jean-Paul Bergès will be with us in positive time during the 3rd stage burn. He plans to step out of the control center for a moment and come up here in the broadcast booth and talk to us, and we'll get more on the satellite from him. 22 launches by Ariane for Intelsat, a long friendship going back a ways. We have a film now on the origins and a look at that cooperation.
What was the meaning of signing a contract with Intelsat in those days?
Setting the standards, and this is still the case. We signed our first contracts with the European Space Agency well before the creation of Arianespace. And then, in 1981, Arianespace took over, and we are now involved in a normal process between a company and its client.
When I joined Arianespace in 1990, I had Intelsat as one of my key clients. We had just signed 5 contracts for Intelsat 5 and 3 for Intelsat 6. The objective was to follow on the same track. We signed 5 contracts for Intelsat 7, 4 for the Intelsat 8 series, and 6 for the Intelsat 9 series. In total, Intelsat accounts for 10% of Arianespace business over 20 years. Arianespace contribution to Intelsat business is quite significant too. 70% of the operational Intelsat fleet was launched by Arianespace. All this was achieved with Ariane 1, 2, 3 and 4 launchers, and now we're moving towards the future with Ariane 5.
So the future is the Ariane 5 with the dual launch capacity and the 10-ton capacity to GTO. How do you feel about launching 2 satellites per time?
Well, 2 satellites at one time definitely make it economically feasible for the industry to afford an inexpensive way to get up to GTO. We hope that the Ariane 5 program is as successful as the Ariane 4 has been for you, and this is very important for all of us in the industry.
With the continued evolution of the Ariane vehicle, engineering staff of both Ariane and Intelsat have worked very closely together, not only to ensure compatibility between the spacecraft and the vehicle, but to optimize the mission such that the spacecraft can obtain a longer lifetime and thus the commercial benefits that go with that. This close association between the technical staff at Intelsat and Arianespace is as strong as ever, and I'm sure it will continue well into the future.
We had our last weather check before liftoff at minus 10 minutes, and you'll see the map coming up. You can see Kourou there. We've had clear skies all week, no risk of rain or storms or high-altitude winds or anything that could delay us. It should be a fine launch, a memorable spectacle for everyone watching. The DDO is going to call out the 6-minute mark now, the beginning of the synchronized sequence.
Top, début de la séquence synchronisée.
All right, we have moved into the final moments of the final countdown, the 6-minute mark, which is called the synchronized sequence or the automatic sequence. We want to give you just a little explanation of what that is. This is the DDO who makes this call. And what's happening now is 2 computers who are located in the launch center about 14 kilometers to the northwest of where we are here in Jupiter, closer to the pad. 2 computers are checking out the final operations, one on the fluid systems of the launcher and the other on the electrical systems of the launcher. We'll be back with that. We're going to go to Ramo Potorazu of Intelsat. We spoke to him last week before the launch of 155. You'll see him with an Ariane 5.
Hello, today we'll be launching from French Guiana on board an Ariane 44. This will be the 906 launch. The satellite will be going to 64 degrees east, basically serving Asia, Africa, Europe, and Australia. The satellite will allow our customers for our new services for telephony, video, and internet services. We've had a long relationship with Arianespace. It's gone back since 1983, and I'm pleased to say that Ariane has provided excellent service, and I hope tonight, once again, they do provide that service for us.
Ariane providing that service since 1979. The Arianespace company formed a year later. and Arianespace took over marketing and operating of all the launch services in 1984, and since then, consistently, year after year, 60% of the launch market worldwide. You can see we're still green. To continue with automatic sequence, these computers checking out the final operations. You can imagine on a complex, a multi-stage launcher like the Ariane 4, 1,001 things to check out, too many for mere mortals. What's happening basically is power is passing from the ground to the onboard systems as the launcher becomes gradually more autonomous. The computer's handling also hazardous units like the explosive cords to separate these stages, also loading the exact ignition time into the onboard computer. These shots were taken about 6 hours ago, 5 hours and 50 minutes to be exact. This is the withdrawal of the gantry tower. The gantry is the tower that services the launch vehicle, normally withdrawn at about 6 hours before launch on launch day. Now this is done mainly because the third stage must be filled at this time, and Ariane has to be in the open air when filling the third stage with the delicate liquid hydrogen and oxygen mix. It's also done rather late in the countdown to keep the launcher protected for as long as possible before liftoff. Weather conditions for the tower withdrawal depend on the pressure values in the stages of the Ariane launcher, but wind speed, however, has to be below 17 meters a second, and that's why we always have a weather briefing, which you heard just before, to authorize gantry withdrawal. Under 3 minutes, we're counting down, we're green and go. Countdown proceeding smoothly. You're watching flight 154. We're going to get a shot now of the cryogenic feeder arms, the third stage arms. We're talking about the filling of the third stage. This is an interesting shot. We want to just take a second to explain it because it's the last thing you're going to see before liftoff. What happens is the computers who are checking out all the systems will also give the order for these arms to swing open. Now there are two. One is liquid hydrogen and one is liquid oxygen. They're going into either side of the vehicle. We have to have the arms swing open in order to have liftoff. So be watching out for the arms to swing open. That happens at -5 seconds. The computers continuing to count down. They'll take us right down to launch time. They're also setting flight pressurization of the third stage in the liquid hydrogen tank. At -2 minutes, they set the same operation in the liquid oxygen tank. Computers are doing all of that and more. We're lifting off from the ELA-2 base tonight, which has seen over 100 launches. Since March of 1986 was the first launch, Flight 17, on an Ariane 3. Quick thumbnail sketch of the launcher area, and you see the boosters on the bottom. There are 3 powered stages, the first 2 with storable propellant and the cryogenic third stage with the liquid hydrogen and oxygen that we've been talking about.
Tous de DDO, attention pour H-1 minute.
DDO now going to call out the 1 minute mark.
Top H-1 minute.
All right, we are into the final 60 seconds before liftoff. Countdown proceeding smoothly. We want to give you just a brief description of the ignition sequence, so that might help you better appreciate what's happening. The computers are going to count us down, and at -5 seconds we mentioned the arms swing open, and at 0 we get the order to have ignition, and the engines on the first stage will light and the boosters will light, but the computers, the same computers we mentioned, will be checking out the pressure for about 4 seconds. There are 2 checks, one to check it and one to verify it, and then the computers give the order to open the launch hooks that keep Ariane tied to the table, and then we will have liftoff at about +4 seconds.
À tous de DDO, attention pour le décompte final.
We'll let the DDO call out the final
10,
seconds. We'll see you after liftoff.
8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Allumage. Décollage.
letter-perfect countdown and a picture-perfect launch. A clear night, a starry sky, spectacular shots of Ariane rising up into the sky over Kourou. People watching on the beach and in the roads leading in and out of the Space Center. Treated to a fine sight. Their video cameras working away, no doubt. Our cameras tracking the launcher. You saw her rise 16 seconds and then began a rollover. That's to bring the radar antennas to the Earth side for better reception. You can see the 4 boosters burning and the single first stage engine burning. Launcher weighing 480 tons at liftoff. That's about 1 million pounds. So there's 4 main engines and the 4 boosters burning 2 tons of fuel per second. We mentioned the most powerful version of Ariane 4. This is needed to get that lift for the nearly 5 tons of INTELSAT. Riding now, she'll be riding for about 20 minutes. The thrust we mentioned, equivalent to roughly 6 747s. As a comparison, if there are any Navy flyers out there, the F-18, which has 2 engines, each of those engines produces 18,000 pounds of thrust. Arianespace, a little more powerful. There's a fine shot there. You can see the outer ring of the boosters, the points of light, and the inner, that's the main engine. Main engine and the boosters now. The boosters will burn for another 15 seconds roughly. DDO has just called out everything is normal. There's a fabulous shot of the boosters being jettisoned, seen by the naked eye on such a clear night. What happens is the boosters are jettisoned, 2 go, and then a second later the other 2 go. They'll fall into the Atlantic. One of the advantages of launching from Kourou is we can go north or east. We're going east tonight because that's where most telecom sats go. With minimum risk over inhabited areas, one of the reasons the Kourou site was chosen as Europe's spaceport back in the 60s. The first stage burning alone now. It'll burn for about another 30 seconds, sorry. On the upper left of your screen, you see... DDO says everything's normal. You see the cursor crawling up the optimal trajectory. You can see, if you can read, it's very small. SEP 1, 2, that'll be the separation of the first and second stage. DDO will call that out.
Extension premier étage.
We're even able to see separation of the first and second stages. Fabulous shots tonight. This is basically what happens up there. You have pyrotechnic cords which provide a little explosion, and the expended stage drops away. That was the first stage. That'll drop into the Atlantic as well.
Tout paramètres à bord normaux.
Everything functioned normally on board. On the lower left of your screen, some figures. The T is the elapsed time in seconds. The moyenne is the means where we're tracking the launcher. It's a central telling us where Ariane 4 is every second since she's left the pad. On the bottom, A and V. A is the altitude in kilometers, as you can see, and V is the velocity. The speed we need to inject to separate satellites on the Ariane 4 is just under 10 kilometers. 10 kilometers per second. We've just jettisoned the fairing. Basically how it happens is the same pyrotechnic cords. You'll see there blows the two halves of the carbon composite away. The fairing, designed to protect the spacecraft from the Earth elements, sort of like a flying clean room, and we're above the atmosphere now, so we don't need it. Also protect the spacecraft from vibrations at liftoff. We're able to drop the 750 kilograms now. Second stage due to burn another minute or so. 1 Viking engine burning now. Our speed just under 5 kilometers a second. Roughly, we're halfway there, the speed we need. Some of the invited guests. That's the prefect. The invited guests behind the glass door, the glass partition. You can see the technical people, Ariane, and the spacecraft people, and ESA and CNES, operational on the other side of the glass. The cursor on the upper left crawling up, that'll be SEP 2-3, if you can read that. That's separation of the second stage, and we'll be into the third.
Extinction deuxième étage.
There's the extinction of the second stage.
Séparation deuxième étage.
And the separation.
Allumage H10.
The Didio said allumage H10 is,
Paramètres bord normaux.
H10 is another name for the third stage. Third stage, the only stage burning now. We've gone from about 480 tons at liftoff to, I think we're under 20 tons. All that's left is the 10 tons of fuel in the third stage, the satellites, their adapters, and the vehicle equipment bay. Everything functioned normally on board at 190 kilometers up and 5.5 kilometers per second. Arianespace 1, Flight 154.
Acquisition par la station de télémesure de Natal.
We've just been received by our first over-the-border downrange tracking station. That's in Brazil in a place called Natal. All the data, which they call telemetry, is continuously sent by the launcher during its flight. And by flight, I mean all the time the engines are burning. And the tracking stations receive it and record it. Ariane's trajectory designed to ensure that the launcher always visible from the ground stations. We're tracked by a CNES station here right behind us in a place called Montagne des Pères, which is about 20 kilometers east
Tous les paramètres bord sont normaux.
of the pad. The Natal station, an ESA facility run by the Brazilian Air Force. The third stage will burn for about 13 minutes, 10 tons of cryogenic fuel. We mentioned that's the liquid hydrogen and oxygen. The first use of this cryogenic fuel ever outside the US was on the first Arianes. This cryogenic engine is burning liquid oxygen and liquid hydrogen at very low temperatures, 175 degrees, minus 175 degrees, and minus 250 50 degrees Celsius, respectively. We're going to go now to an interview with Terry Edwards. You can see him here. I think you'll find what he says interesting.
Hello, my name is Terry Edwards. I'm INTELSAT's Director of Launch Services Program Management. This is INTELSAT's 22nd launch using the Ariane launch vehicle. We've been working with them for many, many years, and obviously we've seen an incredible evolution of the Space Center, both in terms of facilities and support services and so forth. At times, during campaigns, we will provide technical challenges, let's say, to the Arianespace and CSG team in terms of special support required. And that team has always risen to the challenge, doing whatever is necessary to make the mission complete and successful. One thing that is particularly noteworthy of the team here is the sense of camaraderie and team spirit. There are no issues that are too large to be tackled and solved. I know there's going to be some additional evolution of the worldwide launch services industry, and I think Arianespace is well placed to compete competitively in that business. I think one of their principal strengths will be the personnel and their ability to act on a highly technical and competent and professional basis.
Very nice testimonial, don't you think, from Terry Edwards? He's been here often and knows Ariane and the family and the facilities probably as well as anyone. Dave Griffiths on the phone there told me earlier he's counted. He spent 480 nights here. He first came in 1986. We have some time now during the third stage burn. That'll burn until about plus 1846. We want to talk some about Ariane 5. We'll do that. And we want to say some words about INTELSAT, of course, and L'Oral, and maybe Vega. And we'll have Jean-Paul Bergès. We're looking forward to his visit in a few minutes. We'll also have our quiz question. That'll be coming up in 1 second. But first, we have some 3D shots of the satellite's final positioning. To give you an explanation of that, the satellite goes to something called GTO, Geostationary Transfer Orbit. That's the end of the Ariane mission, but it's the beginning of the satellite's life. GTO is a highly elliptical orbit, without being too technical, with a perigee, or a low point, of 200 kilometers, and an apogee, or a high point altitude, of 36,000 kilometers, or 22,000 miles at injection. Now, this orbit has to be circularized, and that is done by means of the satellite's own motors. Its own motors get it up to orbit on its own power. These motors are called apogee motors or kick motors, and all this happens after injection to get into the right orbit. It uses up a lot of the satellite's own fuel that's on board. As a matter of fact, the satellite's going to lose about half of its mass in this operation. Intelsat 9 will lose about 2 tons of fuel. But once on orbit, it'll be able to stay there for 13 years. We're going to go back to Steve Hall. Now, Steve, you there?
Yes, Joshua. Good morning again.
Good morning again. So what's the status now, where you are?
Well, we are, as you see from the graphics, well into the third stage burn. This will last a total of some 13 minutes. After the extension of third stage, we'll orientate for the separation attitude that Intelsat requires and then separate it into its transfer orbit.
Can you describe the atmosphere a bit, where you are?
Well, I think everybody remains very, very focused on the telemetry data coming in from our tracking stations to follow the progress of the mission.
All right, Stephen, Arianespace Program Director, thanks. We'll see you later. The third stage burning beautifully. We've just been picked up by the Ascension Island tracking station. That's a ex-NASA station, a UK island out in the Atlantic, operated by Cable and Wireless, the UK. We have been joined, as promised, by Jean-Paul Bergès, Program Director for Intelsat 9. Good evening. Thanks for coming by.
Good evening, Josh.
Jean-Paul, your satellite is riding now and going to be separated in what, 8 minutes roughly?
Just about that, yes.
I'm curious to know what's going through your mind at a time like this.
Well, Josh, I think that for all of us, we live that moment with high intensity and great expectations. I think about all the hard work that has been accomplished to date to reach this point by teams from Space System LoRa, Alcatel Space, and other subcontractors, but also by our own teams in the program office.
Tous les paramètres de bord sont normaux.
Leadership.
Service excellence.
Clear vision.
Intelsat is shaping a bright future.
Join us.
Be part of it.
We are the world's first and foremost global satellite communications company. Our satellites are helping millions of people everywhere communicate, exchange information, and perform transactions.
All essential tools in a global economy.
Our reliability is over 99.99%.
We have the satellite expertise and the clear vision to guide us in the new millennium. Every day, we help the world keep in touch.
We bring historic events to life. Our fleet of geostationary satellites covers every country on Earth. Intelsat's connectivity is unrivaled. More than 7,000 gateway Earth stations and several million smaller antennas access our system. We link the world.
East
and west.
Este y oeste. North and south.
Nord et sud.
Developed and developing regions.
Wherever you are,
you're always within our reach. Whatever our customers are planning,
and wherever it's happening, we can make it a reality. We help broadcasters deliver world events. We connect corporate networks around the globe. We help carriers build international connections for public voice.
And data networks.
We provide backbone connections for internet providers, bypassing congestion on terrestrial networks and making the World Wide Web worldwide. Our diverse and globally minded workforce understands the unique needs of all our customers. Responding to our customers is a tremendous challenge and an awesome responsibility.
But we do it around the clock and around the globe with total commitment. Quality people and quality satellites.
At Intelsat, we deliver service without boundaries. Intelsat is continuously testing new ideas to pave the way for the future.
Internet over satellite.
Managed network services.
Voice over IP.
Multicasting.
Multimedia. Broadband. And a higher level of value-added services.
Plus, we are adding to our fleet of satellites so our customers will have the capacity they need.
And the tailored coverage they need to serve their key markets.
Satellite communications has a bright future. Intelsat will create countless opportunities by providing advanced telecommunication services to people.
Everywhere,
every day.
We will keep the world in touch.
Intelsat, inspiring connections.
Inspiring connections. We ran into the film there with Jean-Paul Bergès. Intelsat 906 is the 6th spacecraft you've launched in less than 15 months. Can you tell us a bit about your goals for the current launch schedule?
Yes, in fact, this is the most aggressive launch schedule in Intelsat history. Our plan called for the launch of 9 new high-power satellites between June of 2001 and the end of 2003. As you know, this is already number 6. We are doing this, upgrading our system as part of a larger plan. This plan also includes adding ground resources, teleport and fibers to better serve our customer base.
How important is the launchers getting the satellite into the right injection? Because we hear this word injection a lot.
Well, for us, it's very important because it allows us to save some fuel and have a longer life for our satellites to serve our customer a longer time.
Okay. Jean-Paul Bergès, I know that you want to get back down and watch the separation with your team. We have a minute left in the 3rd stage burn.
Very good. Yes, thank you very much.
So thank you for being with us. Do you want to say anything to the folks in Washington?
I think I wish them good luck in continuing the job. I think as soon as we stop working here, they start working over there.
Right. Okay. Jean-Paul Bergès, thank you. We'll see you later.
Thank you, Josh.
About a minute to go, you heard the DDO say, in the 3rd stage burn. Maybe we can go to the quiz question if you're ready. The moment you've all been waiting for. Arianespace quiz question number 154. Tonight's launch is the 22nd time Ariane is launching an Intelsat, you know that. And every launch has been a single launch except one. Which one? Again, all the Ariane launches for Intelsat, including tonight's, have been single launches except one, and we want to know which one.
Extension du H10.
There's the 3rd stage burnout. You can give us the mission number, the date, who you think the co-passenger or co-passengers are. Get to work on that. We'll be back with the answer in a minute. But before, we want to talk about Ariane 5, because that's the big news. Until now, the Ariane 5 did not use any cryogenic fuel in the upper stage, only in the core stage. The launch table had electronics and fluid connections in the gantry. There were no feeder arms, but all that's changed. You know that the campaign for the new cryogenic upper stage, which is called the ESCA, all that took place in July. That's going to increase the launcher's orbit payload capacity to 10 tons. During July, they also tested and qualified the new cryogenic feed arms, and they've been put on the Ariane 5 launch table. Now, they're arms like the ones you saw open on the Ariane 4, but just a little different. Instead of swinging open, they're going to retract. They're going to pull back. And this improvement is a big step in the Ariane 5 program. The Flight 157, scheduled for later this year, is going to use a new upper stage for the first time. Ariane 5, the only new generation launcher that has proven itself, and not on paper, not just calculated reliability, but proven reliability with 13 launches, 10 commercial launches, 13 launches in all and 10 commercial launches. Ariane 5 already way out in front, and the new 10-ton capacity up from 6 tons will put it even farther ahead. We're waiting for satellite separation of Intelsat 906. You hear the DDO call out. You see our speed at the bottom of the screen, 9.59 kilometers per second. And on the cursor in the upper left, we're approaching separation point.
Séparation INTELSAT.
And there we are, there you have it. The good news, the applause. INTELSAT will be picked up by the first of its ground stations, which will be at Perth. And we're going to go to a replay. You can see again those very, very fine shots. Before we have the replay, some curious notes about the INTELSAT relationship with Arianespace. We have we put together a short clip, which we call the INTELSAT saga. If you think you'll like, features some of the highlights of all the past launches, and we're going to run that for you right now.
De déléo, fin de la chronologie vol 154, les moyens sont...
Well, an interesting stroll down memory lane. You may recognize some faces from the past and faces from the present. We're going to go to Jean-Yves Le Gall, Arianespace Chief Executive, and we'll then hear from Terry Edwards, and after that we'll be back to say goodbye.
Good evening. While I am disappointed not to be able to be in Kourou in person tonight, I do not want to miss this opportunity to share with our INTELSAT friends the success of this launch. You have just seen Arianespace's 10th successful launch this year, and the 22nd for INTELSAT over the last 20 years. This is a distinct pleasure to mark these achievements with a true Arianespace customer and partner. We wish you long, productive use of INTELSAT 906 and many more outstanding achievements in the years to come. We also look forward to working with you again early next year on the 907 launch. Tonight's success, just 1 week after the last Ariane 5 launch, shows the dedication and the hard work of the many individuals involved in the preparation campaign, as well as the quality of our organization. To all of the teams from INTELSAT in Washington, D.C., Space System Loral in Palo Alto, Arianespace, CNES, and all the European companies involved in the preparation of the launch vehicle, we are, and you should be, very proud of your excellent work. Congratulations on a job very, very well done. But our work is not over, as we are now preparing our next launch, The first of an Ariane with a capability of 10 tons in GTO. The launch campaign began on August 22nd, and we are now right on schedule for a launch in 2 months from now. So, please enjoy the rest of your night, and my best wishes to all for continued success and a growing partnership. Thank you very much.
Hello, everyone. My name is Terry Edwards. I am INTELSAT's Director of Launch Services Program Management. I must admit I feel a bit at a disadvantage because I have no idea what was said during the video transmission, and I have no idea what Jean-Yves said. So please forgive me if I repeat any information, or even worse, if I contradict any information. But let me say on behalf of INTELSAT, I would like to thank very much all of those who were involved in this activity at Arianespace, CSG, Space Systems Loral, the spacecraft manufacturer, and our good friends at Freelance Service who help us amazingly when we are here during the launch campaign for another successful campaign and what appears to be another successful launch. The next important event in the mission is the acquisition of the spacecraft by the INTELSAT tracking station in Perth, Australia. We should be getting word on that from the INTELSAT Launch Control Center in just a few moments. Over the next few weeks, the INTELSAT 906 spacecraft will be under the control of the INTELSAT Launch Control Center and be maneuvered into geostationary orbit and begin in-orbit testing before entering service. I'd like to wish good luck to my friends and colleagues in the Washington Launch Control Center for the remainder of the mission. Once INTELSAT 906 is on station at 64 degrees east longitude, it will provide our customers in Europe, Africa, Asia, and Australia access to additional capacity using the latest satellite communication technology tailored for today's communications needs. Before I close, I'd like to also say that we look forward to returning to Kourou early next year for the launch of the INTELSAT 907 spacecraft. But in order to return to Kourou, we need to leave Kourou. So we would like to offer our best of luck to Air France to quickly settle the dispute with the pilots. Once again, our heartiest thanks and congratulations to everyone for a job well done. Thank you.
We have 1 minute to say goodbye. We want to give the answer to the quiz before we go. Which Ariane launch of an INTELSAT was not a single launch? Flight 64 in June of '94, INTELSAT 702 built by Loral. The 50th launch of an INTELSAT, but also carried STRV-1A and B. Remember them? 2 micros, 50 kilos each for the UK Defense Ministry. Congratulations to anybody who got that right. But the big news from Kourou tonight, success for Flight 154. We've launched 10 times in 9 months, twice in the last 10 days. That's 72 straight successful launches for the Ariane 4. Pretty unbeatable. Arianespace also awarded 9 of the 12 launch contracts on the market this year. That's it from Kourou. Remember the next launch, the 10-ton Ariane 5. Till then, on behalf of everybody, I'm Joshua Jample. Hope you've enjoyed the broadcast. Replay it on the website. Thank you for being with us. Good night, everybody.